I've got a question for everyone. How do you say this last name? Jacoby. Scott Jacoby stars in The Little Girl Who Lives Down the Lane. Is it Jacoby? I say it's Jacoby. We should stop slurring our words and literally say as is. Colonel instead of colonel. Of course, the military position, not the popcorn kernel. But anyway, Jodie Foster, one of her earliest roles. She had a heck of a freaking year. What was it, 1976 or something like that? As she stars in an interesting film. I mean, it's like two-time Oscar winner, Best Actress, Silence of the Lambs, and The Accused. Jodie Foster delivers an outstanding performance in this razor-sharp story of suspense about a troubled teen with a deadly secret. Co-starring Martin Sheen, Alexis Smith, Mark Schumann, Scott Jacoby. This delicious thriller is stylish, ambiguous, and hypnotically watchable. Some little girls can be murdered. 13-year-old Rin Foster is a gifted prodigy who lives in a big old house with her reclusive father, all alone. Or does she? Well, Rin's nosy landlady and his treacherous neighbor Sheen, Charlie's father, by the way, begins to suspect that this little girl is hiding a dark and dangerous secret. Rin is determined to preserve her isolated existence at any cost and stop those vicious rumors dead in her tracks. Yeah. I didn't know what to expect from this, but when I saw this, I'm like, this is engrossing. So as I'm watching this, I'm just like, this is in a way, it's a stage play, because this is such a small budget, but what makes up for it is you get the characters. The characters just are freaking phenomenal. Obviously, Foster here has, she has that, I don't want to say southern drawl, but just her natural accent makes her stand out when she even had it in the beginning of her career. So, she seems like she's got this precocious child, but she's harboring a secret, and people are just like, what is this? Well, there's some stuff going on that you really don't know, because when this takes place, it takes place on Halloween, which is coincidentally her birthday. Boy, isn't that particularly scary or whatever. So, as I'm watching this, I'm thinking, no, it's like there's this small town, and all the people are coming in. But she's got like a secret. It's amazing just with the words and the script that she was given. It's just mesmerizing to watch. Be able to bring up, when she was talking with this cop, how she's able to bring up like poets of all things, saying that her father was a poet. And they were talking about like how all the great poets killed themselves or met unfortunate ends. So, lo and behold, that was indicative of the way of how some other folks would meet their end. Not like in an extreme way, but in a manner that it just felt like, the tea, how she's offering people this tea, tea, even having some jelly jams. It's like just this unnatural way of how she goes about, just such this stern, indiscernible way of going about herself, like, acting very level-headed, that's the word. And when eventually, what was his name, Mario the Magician comes in, he starts to understand, because he feels alone. I mean, he has his uncle who's there, so, the uncle is a good guy. Yeah, it's like, he knows that his nephew can be, quote, a smart ass, but I guess you can say it runs in the family. And I'm thinking, yeah, that is pretty cool. So what we get are the characters that come in, the nosy landlady, and the mother that's played by Alexis Smith of the what's his freaking name? It's just here. Martin Sheen's mother is as Mrs. Hallett, because she comes in. It's like each character gives a sense of menace, like saying, "Oh, hey, we know there's something going on here," but she manages to outdo them every time. So, she is the little girl that's down the road. It's almost like, the last house on the left. This is kind of like more of the creepiness going on. So, especially, I like the encounters between Sheen's character and Jodie Foster's character. It's just word for word and wit for wit, with the way how they just talk, like not like rapid fire, but like actual adults. It just works so dang well. And eventually, when that she goes to the bank, for traveler's checks and stuff like that, that is quite a scene right there. But it's when you get into roughly the last, I don't know, I want to say 30 minutes or so is when the intensity gets there. I mean, they have conversation. Yeah, I mean, like, of course, all the stuff, all the prelude in Act 1 and 2, talking of all things, jelly jams or whatever, jelly jam jars, a triple J. um, Eventually, it's like saying how, like, how she's like, they even dispose of the bodies and everything, by retrieving them from the cellar and then burying them deep in the ground. Mario gets pneumonia and doesn't really blab or anything, but at the same time, it's like she's got one more foe and she can't exactly rely on the older actor or person to help. So, yeah, this was a freaking ride, I'll tell you. But in the best way possible. The stage play, performances are great. I mean, Jodie Foster is so fantastic at. It's like an entire movie, entire character that she commands, and then all the others are just supporting actors. Pretty freaking much, in my opinion. There was a controversial scene in which, the two are about to engage in intercourse. They thought, it was actually Jodie's 21-year-old sister for the nude scene. So, when it was revealed, like, immediately after the movie came out. So, yeah, obviously there was that. And I'm like, of course, you would have a legendary career. I mean, freaking Contact, for crying out loud, and Silence of the Lambs. Scott Jacoby would actually play Dorothy Zbornak's son, Michael, in 3 episodes of The Golden Girls as a saxophone player. Whatever. So, yeah. So, Mr. Jacoby has, an okay career. So, yeah. I highly, highly recommend you watch The Little Girl Who Lives Down the Lane.